Hey! It's Louie coming to you live here on Sunday night. Talked about a bunch last week. Last week we talked. I got a little list here. Talked about waking up positive. Are we sleepwalking or dreaming? Going for the win. The future. We talked about limitless. Play on the offense or defense, and then living or building our dreams. Which kind of leads me tonight to tonight's louieism. Titled this one tonight, Plan Your Week and Search for Yourself. It's kind of interesting. Yesterday afternoon or evening, I got done with the live and I started watching a video yesterday. And how you doing, Kathy? And it was an older video with Bob Proctor, who's very influential with that whole thought process and getting things, moving forward and thinking the positive and thinking your way through things. and he's actually one of the speakers in the story The Secret, or the movie The Secret. I recommend anybody catch that if you haven't caught it already. And when I was listening to the video is titled "Do You Know Who You Are?" And that's what kind of caught my attention. It was an old 70s looking thumbnail, and I clicked on it and started watching it. And he started talking about do you know who you are, and who are you? And then he goes into, usually the first answer you'll get from anybody is start with their name. I am Louie, or I am whatever, instead of just going into really who we are and what we do. And he talks about we live in three different planes. We live in a spiritual plane, a physical plane, and an intellectual plane. And we have to use all these planes to really take out of us what we're here to do. And we have to condition our minds for the future. It's not about going through the motions and making things happen in that hamster wheel of that same routine every day. With condition our minds to look for that brighter future, and that I talk about all the time, and achieving our results. And when you start thinking about that, most people work 40 out of their 65 years, and at the end of that 65th year, they end up retiring or ending up, finishing out with very little or nothing. So when we start thinking about that, we really don't want to sit around and follow folks. We don't want to get in the line and just head, "How you doing, Rebecca?" Follow folks down the line. And if there is a better way, we have to come up with that better way in our mind and truly build ourselves, to search for ourselves and who we are and the things that we want to do. And if that takes making waves, let's make the waves. Make the waves stand out, be you. Build the images that we got in our mind. Build them out to help us achieve the things that we want to achieve, and become who we want to become, and make these things happen. And it all starts, like I said, on a Sunday. You got to write down. I got my calendar out and write down the tasks and the tasks and the items and the actions that you want to achieve during the week. And write them down in detail, and think about yourself obtaining those things and how you're going to reach those goals. Don't just think about that goal's way out there and it's hard to get to, but sit down and write down how you're going to achieve them and when you're going to achieve them. How you doing, Erica? And visualize the results. When you sit down and do that, visualize the results, because we build, believe it or not, we build everything from from fantasy or image and theory, and we create it into fact. So when we start writing these things down, we start visualizing them in our mind from, just pulling them out of the sky, visualize them in our mind, and we create an image and then the theory and how to get to them, and then we turn them into facts. And then Bob was talking a little bit about the law of clarity, the positive attitude, the negative attitude, and our mind goes through both. Well, that's a give me. We have negative times, we have positive times, but when we really sit and think about it, he talks about you can't obtain both of those trains of thought at the same time. So when you start thinking about that, if you have an attitude that determines our self-image, if it's a positive attitude, we're going to deliver a positive self-image. If we have that negative mindset or attitude, we're going to deliver a negative self-image. And as he said, you can't have, with that law of clarity, you can't have both of those thought processes going on at the same time. So we have to take the little steps and the little bricks and little things to keep our mindset in that positive, especially when we're planning out our week. So we want to put things together for the positive and work our way through that positive and visualize it, so that way we create that. And then he went in to talk something caught my attention. As many of you guys know, or some of you don't know, I went to art school, graduated from the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale a long time ago in visual communications. He talked about an artist, Van Gogh. And when he talked about him, he said, they asked Van Gogh how does he come up with his paintings? And he says he dreams the painting and then he paints the dream. And it's kind of interesting when you hear that, because he's visualized the painting here before he ever created that painting. And doing those things truly gets our positive out of us. How you doing, Brandon? And then lastly, when he's talked about thoughts, and thoughts control our feelings, and feelings control our actions, and actions control our thoughts. So that vicious cycle, you got to really think about our thoughts are controlling the things that we do, our feelings that we're carrying on within us, and that we actually roll out, control our actions that we do. How you doing, Carrie? That we act out during the day, and then they control our thoughts again. Our actions control those thoughts again from what we just went through with that action. So when you start thinking about that, we got to really let's work on this week and keeping that thing, the mindset, as positive as we can with whatever we're going through, wanting to go through, wanting to achieve, things we need to achieve. Instead of working on how we're not going to achieve it, let's sit down and write down the ways we're going to achieve it and visualize ourselves achieving it. So maybe I'll give everybody some homework today, and think of that one or two things you want to achieve next week, and find a picture on the internet, print it out, and carry it around with you. Like I tell everybody, I carry the vision board with me just to look at it every morning, at least every morning, every night before you go to bed, and just so you can visualize yourself saying and doing those things like we talked about last week. We got to play on offense to get to the wins. We are limitless. We can do whatever we put our mind to. Our mind's a very powerful thing, and we have to make those things happen. Louie, tonight with a real quick louieism before I finish planning my week and get everything laid down for the night and start Monday off strong and attack that week. As always, if you're catching this live, greatly appreciate you for giving me just a little bit of time just to ramble on and get some of the thoughts out of my head that over the last 24 hours, actually a little over 24 hours. So I greatly appreciate you giving me your time, and thank you for all those hearts and thumbs up. Greatly appreciate those. If you're catching it on the replay, hashtag that replay. And as always, if you find any value here, thank you, Brandon. You know my saying, and Kathy, you get a smile, both of you. If you find any value here, hashtag that value, put a big smile on my heart. Smile on my face and a song in my heart. It keeps me running and playing forward. And just delivering these little louieisms or thoughts that go on through my head, and just maybe we'll make the world a better place for folks out there. I say a little sunshine and a smile to the world, and make the world a better place. And if you find any value that you think somebody can move their self a little bit forward, or connection, just need to hear just what I was rambling on about tonight, go ahead and hit that share button on the bottom and share it out in Messenger, or link me up with somebody. Greatly appreciate it. It's really what I believe we're here to do, is connect and interact just to make the world a better place. As always, be good. Have a great one. Today's Sunday. Attack the week tomorrow. Get up first thing in the morning positive with that smile on and attack the week. Appreciate you guys. Thank you much. Bye.